Alright, we're getting ready to make another exciting video here at Scotty's Gun Works. Going to make another Cerakote video, up-to-date version of the one we did before. We're going to try to go over some high points on it, kind of cover some of the bases that I may not have covered in the first video. We're going to be Cerakoting a barrel. I think it's a Mossberg 930 12 gauge barrel only. And then we're going to be doing a slide of a 1911. I think it's a Kimber Ultra Carry. Anyway, we're going to Cerakote those two items. Show everybody, the process like we did before. And then at the end, we've got another one where I'm Cerakoting. I think it's a Savage semi-auto shotgun. We're going to kind of go over some things, have a box open, and things like that. Okay, here are the two guns I was telling you about, the ones that I already have Cerakoted. Now, these are personal guns of mine. I've been carrying these here for quite a while, and they've really held up really good. This is a little Ruger LCP, and everything's been safety checked. Let me go ahead and say that first thing. We want to make sure that everything is safety checked. There's no danger here, so we've got everything unloaded. We've got a LCP Ruger here. What I did on this one right here is I Cerakoted the slide only on this one. OD green is what it is. Turned out really nice, really good durable finish. Just did the slide on that only. Then I got a Tactical Arms here in 1911. And what I did on it, of course it is safety checked, but what I did on it is I Cerakoted the slide and then I Cerakoted the frame. I did the frame in an OD green color. And I did the slide and all the other components in a graphite black. Really a nice finish on that. Turns out really good. I always like to put these finishes on my own firearms and carry them and just see for myself how durable they are. And this right here by far has proved out to be a really good durable finish. It's a ceramic finish is what it is, and of course you spray it on there and then you got to bake it. And then when it's all said and done, it's a really good finish. Acid, red Loctite, the Hobbs number 9, just anything, like it that's got an acid base to it, I guess, won't touch it, won't take it off at all. I have put Loctite on sights on guns that's been powder coated, and I've noticed that it'll take that powder coat off. The only thing that'll take this right here off is a sandblaster. So I'm really confident in that finish right there. Okay, here we are with the box opening. I get all my stuff from Brunel's most of the time. This is the box it's going to come in when you order your Cerakote kit. This is a refill kit, I believe. Like I said earlier, it's a graphite black. It comes with everything you're going to need. Comes with an instruction manual, though this right here actually is a durability manual, I believe it is. Kind of let you know how durable the finish is. All the information you'll need on that right there, the website and all that, phone number. Then you got an instruction manual here. It's a training manual is what it is. It walks you right through everything. Of course, practice makes perfect. Shows you how to mix it and how to apply it and all that. Got the ratio mixture on there. 24 to 1 part. 24, for instance, if you want a matte finish, you'll go 24 parts Cerakote to 1 part of the hardener. Satin finish is 18 parts of the Cerakote to 1 part of the hardener. And semi-gloss would be a 12 part Cerakote and 1 part of the hardener. And it goes into detail on this right here. And of course, they've got a technical line, and I have to call that, in the beginning, I used to have to call that quite a bit. There's a number on there for that. And there's a technician on there who will answer any questions you may have. Comes with that. And it comes with some filters here, because you'll want to filter it after you mix it up. It comes with a Cerakote hardener. And what I always do is I always make sure I date both the bottle and the hardener. That lets me know that this right here came with this right here. I think the shelf life on this is probably about 12 months. So you don't really want to order a whole lot of it. Just kind of order it as you need it. I'm predicting I'm going to do several guns in graphite black, so I got me another whole bottle here. Today we're going to kind of go with a matte finish on the parts we're going to be Cerakoting today. Probably 24 part Cerakote, 1 part hardener. And that's it. That's what's going to come in your kit. I get all my stuff from Brunel's, but you can order directly from Cerakote. Now let's put it in a Ziploc bag here, I guess, in case of any leakages. And that's what your bottle's going to look like. Keep it in focus here. And that'd be the hardener it comes in. Okay, here's the parts we're going to be Cerakoting today. Here's the 1911 slide. I think it's a Kimber Ultralight. You just want to do the slide on this. Now let me point this out. I don't think I pointed it out on the last video that we made of these. The fellow that wants this slide done, he wants me to leave the sights on. Normally I wouldn't recommend that. I usually take them off. I think even in the last video we did, we left the sights on with a request of the customer. This one right here belongs to a friend of mine. And he said just leave the sights on. He said he's never going to take them off. He wants to just leave them on there. So, which is easy for me because that way I ain't got to fool with the sights. But normally I would take them off and I would Cerakote them separate and then reassemble them after everything was all said and done. But we'll just leave them on there at his request. Of course, I will take the firing pin out and the extractor claw, and then we'll clean it up real good. But as you can see, it's got a coating on it and it's flaking off. You'd think a Kimber would have a better finish on it than that. Most of them do. This is the first one I've ever seen flake off. But anyway, we're going to take care of that. And then we got a shotgun barrel here. And with these right here, this is not necessarily to disassemble. We'll just kind of tape it up a little bit, make sure no Cerakote gets down in there. These are under pressure, so you'll want to make sure you don't take anything like that right there out. I think this is off a Mossberg Model 930, I believe, semi-auto shotgun. Of course, it's been threaded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw a choke in there just to kind of protect the threads. Then took the sights out of this one, the adjustable. Of course, that's just our sight frame. And I'm going to take it and clean it real good. What I would do, and I probably won't bore you with all the cleaning process, we'll soak it in acetone. That's the first thing I like to do. And then I'll go the extra step and I will clean it in Dawn dishwashing detergent. Clean it real good before I even hit it with the aluminum oxide. The aluminum oxide I use is a 120 grit, and they recommend you to use that in the instruction manual, training manual. But I will clean it up real good before I do any kind of aluminum oxide blasting or anything like that. Soak it in that Dawn dishwashing liquid detergent for probably about 15-20 minutes. Then I will clean it out real good and rinse it real good with water. And then what I like to do is I like to what I call flash baking it, I guess, if you will. And that's where I heat the oven up and I put it in the oven and I let it sit in there for about 10 or 15 minutes at like 250 degrees. And if there's any oil left behind in that, then I'll be able to see it. It's what they call bleed out, I guess is the proper word for that. I'll put it in there and I'll let it bleed out any oil that might be left behind. And if I do see any traces of it, then I'll go back into the Dawn dishwashing detergent bath, a clean bath, and usually that'll take care of it. Worst case scenario, I'll go back into the acetone and then back into the Dawn dishwashing bath. The thing about the acetone is it works really good. That's what they recommend that you use. The only problem I have with that is it wants to get really dirty, and then you got to keep changing it and all that. That's the reason why I include the Dawn dishwashing bath in it. And you ain't got to use Dawn dishwashing liquid. There's other degreasers out there you can use in it to substitute that, but I've always found that works really good. It's good on the environment, and it's just really a good degreaser to use after you degrease it with the acetone, and just kind of go back and give it a final bath with that. But after I'm convinced there's no more oil in this, then that's when I'll take it out and aluminum oxide it with the 120 aluminum oxide grit. And we'll show you all the show you what it's going to look like before I spray it, and then I'll show you the mixing up of the Cerakote, how I mix it, how I spray it, you know, little things like that. Then we'll show you the baking process, and of course we'll show you the after finish after it's all said and done. All right. We've been in our acetone now probably for about 15-20 minutes. And what I'll do is after I get it out of the acetone bath, I got another bath I'll go to. It's the Dawn dishwashing liquid bath, and I'll scrub it down really good. Of course, here you want to make sure at this point that you've got your fans going, plenty of ventilation going through here. I got my mask on and put my gloves and all that when you're handling acetone or anything like that. So we just want to make sure that we're safe. So we'll let that go ahead and soak for a few more minutes in that. Then I'll take it out and dry it real good, and just go the extra step with the Dawn dishwashing detergent bath. And then I'll probably let it bleed out before I do any kind of aluminum oxide blasting on it. Okay, here we are. We done took it out of the acetone bath, cleaned up everything. Now we're in our Dawn dishwashing the liquid bath here that I always go to. Really probably isn't necessary, but I always like to do this just to ensure that I've got all the oil out of it. Of course, I took the innards out of that, the firing pin and the extractor claw. What I'm going to do after I get this right here, after this soaks a little bit more and I kind of scrub it a little and run a bore brush through it and all that, my next step's going to be to put it over there in the Cerakote oven, which is heating up right now. And I'll probably put it in there probably about 210 degrees, somewhere around that neighborhood, maybe 250. Leave it in there for about 10-15 minutes. I'm going to check it out really good though before I put it in there to make sure I don't see any evidence of oil coming out of these little portholes, things like that. Make sure it's good and clean. And that's what I'm going to be looking for. I'm going to be looking in these areas right here around the sight frame, and I'm going to be looking for bleed out of oil. And if I do happen to see any more bleed out in there, then I'll probably bring it back over here and scrub it down real good in this Dawn dishwashing liquid bath. And then I'll probably go back over there and put it back in there for another 10 minutes or so. And I know that sounds kind of like a lot of work, but it's a whole lot more work whenever you pull it out of the Cerakote oven and see that there was oil left behind. And then you got to strip it all back off because you don't want to send your customer something that's going to start flaking. So that's kind of what that's all about. It's prep work. But before I put this in my aluminum oxide bead blasting machine out there, I want to make sure that it don't have no oil. That's another reason why I do it this way. It just works best for me. That way I'm sure not to contaminate the aluminum oxide, the 120 grit out there in the blaster machine, because sometimes you can pick oil back up if you contaminate that. And a lot of times that's what I'll do. I will take and bead blast it with that aluminum oxide. Then I'll just blow it off real good with an air hose, and then third time I probably flash bleed it out and the oven over there just to make good and sure. This depends on the situation. Just want to make sure that we got all the oil out of it. Then after I'm convinced there's no more oil in it, then after I get it all bead blasted and everything with that aluminum oxide, And that's when I go to the step of getting it ready to be sprayed. Okay, we then came out of the Dawn dishwashing bath. Now I'm over here in the Cerakote oven. Got it set at about 200 degrees. And basically what we're doing is we're just kind of bleeding out anything that, any oil that might be left behind basically. We'll leave that in there for about 10 minutes and I'll take it out and I'll just check it real good. And then we'll take and get ready for our next step. Alright, we done took it out of the bleed out oven, or the Cerakote oven where I've been bleeding it out. And I do see a little bit of, I don't know if y'all can see that or not. I thought I'd take advantage of this situation. There's a little bit of oil coming out right around in here. Everything up there looks good, no oil bleed out up there at all. That's the only little place right there that I'm not real satisfied with. So I'm going to probably soak that in some more acetone and then go back into the detergent bath. And then rinse it with water and then put it back in the oven. And that should take care of it. As for this right here, it's in really good shape. I don't see any bleed out in it nowhere. It is hot. But no bleed out in it. Usually what you want to look at, especially if you're going to leave the sights on there, you usually try to bleed out right up under the sights there. And this right here is pretty dry, so I feel confident we're good with that. Since it's going to be about the same amount of time, I may go ahead and, and soak that in as well, just to make good and sure. But I mean, I don't see no bleed out at all, and just repeat that process. And you will see some surface rust forming too. Don't worry about that. Just make sure you got all your oil out, and after you're confident that all your oil is out of that, what you'll do next is you'll come over here to the polishing wheel and you'll polish out any imperfections that may be in the metal. In this case here, we got to take this sprayed on finish off, and then we'll go out into the blasting room, and we'll take the aluminum oxide and clean it up really nice. And then we'll get ready to spray it. Okay, what I do want to point out here right quick is this particular barrel right here had a matte finish on it. Okay, now usually that means that they probably bead blasted it and blued it in most cases to get that matte finish. Now your Cerakote directions are going to say a 120 aluminum oxide should be used. Well, the reason why that is because you don't want to overdo it with your sandblasting. And if you take that 120 and go over what they've done, it's probably going to be too much sandblasting. We'll just put it that way. We don't want to get too deep when it comes to that. That's why you use aluminum oxide. And what I've done is I've just polished that off. Now it's kind of shiny. If you remember, it was kind of dull a while ago. So now that I've got it down pretty much smooth again, I'm going to take it out there to the machine, and then I'm going to aluminum oxidize it with the aluminum oxidized sandblaster, I guess, if you will. I've got 3 of those machines out there. One of them is strictly for Cerakoting. It's got the aluminum oxide in it. It's kind of an expensive product, but I use the 120 grit aluminum oxide, and I dedicate that one machine's nothing but for Cerakoting. That's the reason why I take the extra steps to make sure I don't contaminate it, because now it's good and clean. Now everything's good and clean, all the oil's out of it, and I take it out there and I spray it with that aluminum oxide, and it's got oil in it. Then I'm going to contaminate my metal again. So that's one of the reasons why I use that detergent bath as well as the acetone. You probably don't have to use that detergent bath, but since I do quite a few of them, I just want to make sure I don't contaminate that aluminum oxide. So probably the detergent bath for the average person probably wouldn't even be necessary. But anyway, I'm going to go out there now, and I'm going to start putting the aluminum oxide finish on it. Put that matte finish back on it. It'll be in the white again, but it'll have the matte look. And then we're going to set up and get ready to start doing our spraying. I just came in from outside of the aluminum oxide blasters, if you will. Then got the metal already ready for the spray, the Cerakote spray that is. And here's what it should look like. Everything's nice and smooth. That's the one that had the spray on finish. I don't know what kind it was. It looked like paint to me, but anyway, that's the Kimber Ultralight. All degreased, ready for the spraying of the Cerakote. And of course, it'll go on really thin. I didn't bother with taking you out there to the aluminum oxide machines. Just a dirty mess out there. As you can tell, I got the stuff all over me. But anyway, just after I got all the oil out of it, took it out there and sprayed it with the aluminum oxide, and brought it back in, sprayed all the aluminum oxide off of it, and got it set up on this little pedestal here. Of course, when you're doing this kind of work, you have to have all kind of little gadgets and contraptions to hold your work where you can just move it around and spray it. Then just take it, set it right inside the Cerakote oven. Of course, I got two ovens. I got one for long guns and one for hand guns, but I think I'm going to I don't know if I will put this one in the smaller oven or not. I'll probably just put them both in there together. But there's that one. And then we got the shotgun barrel. I went on ahead and put the muzzle brake on it. We'll just Cerakote all that in together. And I put and that's not a live round, folks. All that is a an empty shell. I cut the brass off of it, or aluminum in that case. It's an aluminum shell there. Cut the plastic part off, make sure that wasn't in there, it's going to melt. And I just plugged up the bore, because we don't really want to get no Cerakote in the bore. And I'm going to avoid getting too much of it in there. Wouldn't really matter too much, but basically we're just going to Cerakote the outside of it really nice. But there it is in the white. There it is with the matte finish to it. He wanted it to be a matte finish. And no signs of any oil or anything. So I'll go ahead and start mixing up our Cerakote, and we'll get it sprayed. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and spray it. I don't know if you can tell or not, but I'll try to make it where you can really see it. But anyway, here we go. Long strokes like this, which we will go. You don't want to put it on there so wet that it's going to run. Get all the hard to reach places first if you can. Good coat. You want to be in really good control. That's why I got the stick in the muzzle where I can turn it and get all the hard to reach places. no puddling. You want to make sure you get a good even stroke when you're doing this. Hold it about, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches, sometimes 6. Try to keep the pattern kind of in a ball, I guess. That way you won't waste any Cerakote, but you want to make sure you don't get it too wet. This guy right here lives in Florida, and he says he has a real bad rusting problem. He wants to coat it. So that's all to do. Now we'll let that air dry for about 10 minutes before we put it in the oven. And I'll probably mix up a new batch of Cerakote, and we'll go with a little bit shinier finish on the slide. That's one of the reasons why I was kind of tossing around in my mind whether to put these both together or not. I went on ahead and started Cerakoting this crystal here. I said, well, I guess I'll just go ahead and put them both in there together because I got plenty of Cerakote here. Mixed up enough for both of them, so I couldn't film myself putting it on there because it gets a little chaotic. You want to keep your mind focused. So anyway, went on really good. Fixing to put them both in the oven for 2 hours at 250 degrees. Okay, folks, I got the barrel and the slide back there in the oven, set at 250 degrees for 2 hours. What you want to do after you put the spray on there, or the Cerakote, you let it air dry for about 10 minutes or so before you put it in the heat. And then after it gets about 10 minutes or so of air drying, what we'll do is just put another, and that's what I did. So in 2 hours, we'll be ready to come out. We'll have some nice finish on both of them. I was going to do the slide different, but I'd actually mixed up enough Cerakote for both of them, but you kind of don't know how much it's going to take sometimes. You have to kind of guess at it a little bit. So I realized I had quite a bit of Cerakote left over, so I thought I'd better go ahead and use it on that slide. So it worked out really good. I got them both in the same oven, curing out. I apologize for the acoustics. I know you couldn't hardly hear me with that mask on in there and that fan going, and that's one of the bad things about not having a cameraman down here kind of direct and tell you what's going on. I got the tripod set up and all, but that, I hope everybody can hear what I was saying. Basically, you just want to put them on in long, even strokes. You want to make sure that you don't have no real wet. You want it to kind of have a wet look, but you don't want it to puddle, I guess, because it'll start running then. You don't want that. Just a nice, kind of a wet look to it, I guess. Adjust your gun. I like mine to kind of go on like in a pattern about like that. That way I ain't got a lot of waste, and plus it covers everything really good, and I can really stay focused on it and making sure I get everything evenly covered. So we got it all in the oven in there, so we'll just wait and see, and I believe it'll turn out really good. Alright, there we are. There's the slide. There's our finished product. He wanted to leave the sights on. They turned out really nice. Everything's blended in real nice. Normally I'd probably take them off, but really it's just up to the customer what they want. But that turned out really good. It's the Ultra Carry Kimber. Nice and smooth and got the matte look to it. There's all the parts I got to put back in it. Then we got the barrel here along with his muzzle brake on there. Turned out really nice. Thought I'd go ahead and Cerakote that in with the barrel. That way everything will match really good. I believe these 930s have an aluminum receiver. I think his is already matte finished, so that ought to match up really nice. Here's another project I'm going to do. I'm going to Cerakote the receiver and the barrel on this. It's got an aluminum receiver on it, got a steel barrel obviously, and he wants to Cerakote this graphite black. It's a Savage shotgun. I got a new stock and forearm already fitted for it. This one here's got a busted stock, and I think the forearm's even got a crack, but he don't want no checkering on it. He just wants a Cerakote black finish on the barrel and the receiver, and a standard finish on the wood. I just thought I'd show a quick before picture. And then I'll show another picture after it's all finished, and we'll add that to our Cerakote video. I won't bore you with going over and doing all the cleaning process and all that I showed when I did the barrel and the slide on this video. Just basically want to show you a before and after picture. Thought I'd go over this real quick while I had this opportunity. This is an aluminum receiver, and you'll notice it still has some of the anodize on it. You don't necessarily have to take all the anodize off of aluminum when you put it in the aluminum oxide to blast it. You basically just want to dull it down to where it looks like a matte finish, I guess, if you will. It looks like oil there, but it isn't. It's anodized. It was left on it. The reason why most of the anodizing is off of this right here is because it had some bad places in it, and I fixed all the little bad places and smoothed it up with the polishing wheel, and then I hit it with the aluminum oxide, and it put our matte finish on it. We don't want to over blast it, so just a nice matte finish is all you want on that aluminum. And on your steel, you want to set it down to about 100 pound or 100 psi, I believe, on your air compressor. That should be sufficient enough pressure to blast aluminum. You want to mask all the places you don't want to Cerakote or hit with the aluminum oxide, which is what I did on this mag tube. And of course we're going to Cerakote the cap here. So basically I just want to kind of point that out while I had this opportunity. Alright, got it back together. Here's the Savage that was Cerakoted. Got the new stock on it and the new forearm fitted up. Remember, the other one was busted. Turned out really nice. Good ceramic finish there. That's got the aluminum receiver and the aluminum trigger guard. Obviously the barrel is steel, but I believe he'll really be pleased with it. Turn it around here where you can get a really good look at everything. And that's tough, folks. Ain't no scraping that off with your fingernails. We're going to go test fire it, make sure it functions well, and get it back to him. Of course, I test fired it before I did this, and it did real good, so it stands to reason it should still fire well. Just gonna be on the safe side and fire a few rounds through it, double check everything, and I believe this gun right here will last another 100 years. Alright, another Cerakote video in the books. I believe everything turned out really good. Shotgun here turned out really nice, really durable. Done took and test fired it, shot really good. I believe my customer's really going to be happy with that. The barrel and the 1911 Kimber slide Ultra Carry turned out really nice. I hope I covered everything in this video that might help you. If you have any questions, well, feel free to give me a call, and I'll be happy to answer any questions I can. If I don't pick up, just leave me a message and I'll call you back. And just remember, Cerakote puts out a really nice training video on their website, and you can call and they'll send you a Cerakote training manual, and you know, they'll just kind of help you get through all these little situations that you might come up against. Basically, it just boils down to what we covered in the video. Just make sure your metal's clean and prepped. Don't put it on too thick, you know, it goes on thin. And then just bake it on at the proper temperature at the proper time, and you should have a successful job. And again, as usual, like all the other videos we've done, I really do appreciate everybody watching these videos.